So you want to get into home bartending, but you're worried that you don't have the space in order to have the necessary tools, ingredients, and glassware in order to be an effective home bartender. If that sounds like you, then this is the correct video. My name's Raman Virpin. I'm a full-time medical doctor. I've been a home bartender for over 5 years now, and I teach other busy professionals how to make cocktails at home. In this video, I'm going to be giving you guys 3 main takeaways that you can use if this is a huge problem for you. And I feel like really the right person to talk to you guys about this, because this is definitely a major concern that I had, and it's something that held me back multiple times. I've wanted to get into home bartending probably 3 or 4 different times over the course of multiple years, and I really let the lack of space hold me back. And right now I'm fortunate enough to have my own apartment. It's quite spacious, and I also do live by myself. But during those years when I was in college and in medical school, I wanted to get into home bartending, but I lived with roommates, sometimes multiple roommates. I lived in dorms. I lived in Airbnbs. At certain times, I also lived with my parents, including during the first COVID-19 lockdown. And I was also moving around a lot, oftentimes every year, and in some occasions every semester, I was moving to a different location, a different place for housing. And I was sharing my kitchen space and my fridge space with either my roommates or my parents and my family. So I felt like it wasn't the right time for me to get into home bartending. And I didn't really get into home bartending until I got my own apartment in June 2020. And that's when I made my first cocktail and really started this journey. But I don't want that to hold you guys back. So I have 3 main lessons and things that I've learned over the course of the past 5 years that I think can help you guys out. And it'll help you get started making cocktails, even if you do live with roommates and other people, even if you have limited fridge space, limited kitchen space, limited pantry space, things like that. So the first is using bottled fruit juice. And here I have my 2 favorite bottled juices. This is the Nelly and Joe's Key West lime juice, and this is the Santa Cruz organic lemon juice. And these are real huge space savers. For example, this bottle of Nelly and Joe's Key West lime juice is 16 fluid ounces. In comparison, a fresh lime will give you about half an ounce to 1 ounce. So this single bottle of lime juice is equivalent to somewhere between 16 and 32 limes. And limes are quite small, but this bottle is probably only the size of somewhere between 3 and 5 limes. But it contains as much juice as 16 to 32 limes. So if you don't want to have those massive, you're living with other people, you don't want to have those massive fruit bowls that just take up all this counter space and they're stocked with limes all the time. Instead, just get one of these, throw it in your fridge. You can make multiple cocktails. You can make at least 15, 16 cocktails with this. Depending on the cocktails, you'll probably can get up to 30 cocktails, depending on which one you're making. So somewhere between 16 and 32 cocktails you can get with just a single bottle of this, and it takes up way less space. You want to make a few cocktails, you can also just store it in your fridge afterwards. This has far higher shelf life than fresh limes as well. So, especially those early days when you don't have as much money, and even when you are more well established, you really don't want to be throwing away a lot of ingredients. You don't want to be wasting food. You don't want to be wasting your money. So go ahead and pick up some bottles of these. This is actually the 32 ounce one, but this also comes in a 16 ounce. So I know this is quite bulky and will take up a lot of fridge space, but you can also get the smaller 16 ounce. Before you open it, you can store it in your pantry. And then after you open it, you can store it in your fridge, and it'll last for quite some time, even months on end. And for both of these, take up far less space than actual fresh fruits. So that's really going to be the first main lesson or takeaway that I had that will hopefully help you guys out. The second one is that if you don't want to go out and buy a range of 5, 10, 15 different bottles of liquor, just go ahead and buy one. For example, you can just buy one bottle of tequila, a 750 ml one like this Terramana that I have here, and just go ahead and make a bunch of tequila cocktails until you run out of the bottle. And then you can go buy another bottle of tequila, or you can go buy a bottle of gin, vodka, rum, whiskey, anything else really. So, you just buy this bottle, and then each bottle contains about enough ingredients for about 12 cocktails. So, you can just make a couple margaritas, then you can start making some palomas, and then so on and so forth. And you can make these different cocktails. You can make different variations on the margarita. And once you do that, you can really get into just focusing on just one bottle and making all the different drinks that contain just that, all the different drinks or the different cocktails that just contain that one liquor. And then when you go on, after this, then you buy a bottle of gin, and then you start making the bee's knees, and you make a martini, and you make a Negroni, and you make all these different drinks that just contain that ingredient, and the gin gimlet, for example. So you can just pick up one bottle and then make all the tequila cocktails. Then once you run out, then you get a bottle of gin, make a bunch of gin cocktails, run out, buy a bottle of bourbon, make a bunch of bourbon cocktails, and then so on and so forth. And that way you're not really taking up all this pantry space and kitchen space with just tons of bottles everywhere. You can just buy one bottle, make a bunch of cocktails. And then when you're able to move out on your own, you're able to get your own place, or you're able to, you still live with family or a roommate, but you have a bigger place, then you can go ahead and expand your bar cart and the amount of bottles that you have. So that's going to be the second lesson. And then finally, for the third lesson, if you don't want to go out and buy a bunch of different glassware, the other bartending YouTubers are going to tell you to buy a bunch of rocks glasses and Collins glasses and coupe glasses and wine glasses and so on and so forth. Just the tried and true workhorse. This is probably what I've served most of my drinks in, because I generally host these bigger parties that have 10 plus people. I don't want to be doing a lot of dishes at the end of the night or after the party or the next day, for example. Just go out and buy these standard red plastic cups. Serve your drinks in that. It's big enough to contain any type of drink you make, even the high volume tiki drinks. This is big enough for that. So you could really serve any type of drink in this, and I've served probably 100 different types of cocktails in solo cups or the standard red plastic cups. So if you don't want to go out and buy your glassware, just go ahead and do that. So that's going to be lesson number 3. So just to recap, the 3 real lessons or takeaways that you can get from this video, if you're worried that space is limiting you on getting started on this home bartending journey, the first main idea is that you can use bottled lime juice and lemon juice instead of fresh fruits. That'll be a huge space saver in your fridge or pantry. And then when it comes to bottles of liquor, go ahead and just buy it, do it stepwise, buy one at a time, make a bunch of drinks with that, finish the bottle, and then go out and buy the next bottle, and then do the same thing, make a bunch of drinks with that. And that way, instead of having 5, 10, 15 bottles of liquor in your apartment or wherever you're living, you will just have one at a time, maybe 2 at a time, something like that. So that'll be a huge space saver. And then finally, if you don't want to go out and buy all this glassware, you're in a phase of your life where you're moving around a lot, or you don't want to take up a lot of shelf space in your kitchen, then go ahead and just use the tried and true plastic cups, the red plastic cups. Like I said, I've served tons of drinks in that. Nobody's ever complained. So these are 3 things that I learned over the course of these past few years that I wish I had known when I was in the early days thinking about becoming a home bartender. Because if I had known about this, then I definitely would have gotten started much sooner. So anyways, that's all I have for today. If you found that video helpful, please subscribe to the channel. I really like to do 2 types of videos on this channel. One will be where I do a tutorial on how to make a specific cocktail. And the second type of video is like this one, where I just share advice and things that I've learned over the past 5 years that I feel will help you all get started on this journey and become the best home bartenders that you can be. Thank you. Cheers.